Just talk us through it because, yeah, we know the investigations in the early hours, a lot of different intel is sort of coming out on this, but how are airlines and regulators reacting to what happened on Friday?
Yeah, a difficult weekend for Boeing, Alaska Airlines and the 177 passengers on board and the crew on board Flight 1282. For Alaska Airlines, they're the second biggest operator of the MAX 9. They grounded all 65 of their jets, and that was followed by Alaska Airlines, United Airlines rather, which is the biggest operator. And then that followed another round of airlines who followed suit, such as Aeromexico, Panama's Copa Airlines and Turkish Airlines. But there is a limited number of airlines overall who operate this type of jet. Now, they'll all be waiting for the US Federal Aviation Administration to see what steps that they may need to take to make checks to this plane that are satisfactory to the FAA, and also potentially what remedies that may need to be put in place before this plane returns to service. But it does take us on to the regulators who the FAA actually put out a statement only a couple of hours ago, and they said that they will keep this plane, the 737 MAX 9, grounded until they are satisfied it is safe to fly. So we may feel more like a long and drawn out grounding here potentially in the near term. But for the FAA, they did take action. 171 of 215 MAX 9 jets they instructed to be grounded worldwide, and that was followed by the UK and the EU, who said they would follow the FAA's directive here, but they don't have any aircraft in the region that are affected. Then you also had India following suit, but they also don't have aircraft affected. We also then had China under a Bloomberg scoop. We heard, were holding an emergency meeting on Saturday, but nothing has come of it so far, them taking action they were considering. But we'll be watching closely, especially on Monday, if anything does happen.
The question is, how many more of these bad headlines can Boeing take, right? They're just 5 days into this kind of new year, new comeback plan. When are customers going to start wavering on their confidence in these aircrafts?
No doubt this is a big reputational hit to Boeing yet again, not least for after the 2019 global grounding of the 737 MAX fleet worldwide, and that came after 2 fatal crashes. But in the recent months, we have seen serious manufacturing and quality lapses, not just on the part of Boeing, but principally responsible Spirit Aerosystems. They are the main supplier to Boeing on this MAX jet. We've not heard from Spirit actually over the weekend since the incident took place, so we'll be also watching to see if Spirit has anything to say on Monday. But for Boeing, it's hard to know what kind of financial impact there might be in the near term. But for the airlines, no doubt they'll be seeking some financial remedies because of the grounding that has taken place and the huge impact to schedules and to passengers that airlines will need to recoup from. Now, looking at the current investigation, it has only been going on for the last several hours. In fact, it only started in the US on Sunday. The NTSB, the National Transportation Safety Board Chair Jennifer Homendy, said on actually Saturday night that it was more fortunate that this was not a more serious tragedy. They'll be looking, though, for the manufacturing quality that goes into this aircraft. They'll be also looking at all kinds of things, such as the pressurization setup for this aircraft and how the components around the door look after this blowout that took place on Friday night. But we'll be watching closely just to see what happens and the days to come and more on what happens here.